Virir Panim, and welcome to the world that was. Today, I'll be making a Bronze Age basil sauce, much like the pesto we know and love today. The origins of this are pretty vague, placing it in the north of Italy, so we can guess this refers to an Etruscan recipe as it was preserved as Moretum in early Roman cuisine. While it's unknown if cheese was included in the original dish, the Romans would often include a hard cheese when making their Moretum. In any case, let's now take a look at the world that was. To begin with, we need to dry toast our pine nuts. Toss 50 grams or a third of a cup of pine nuts onto a dry frying pan, and place this over a medium heat. Stir them around and agitate them so they cook evenly and turn a lovely golden colour. It's not known if this was done in antiquity, but it definitely brings out the flavours of the nuts very well. When they're done toasting, crush them into a fairly smooth meal in a mortar and pestle, or a blender if you have one. Put this aside while you deal with your herbs and garlic. Now we need to mince our other ingredients. Start by taking some basil leaves, rolling them up into a ball and chopping them with a knife. You'll need quite a lot of basil for this recipe, as it's one of the major ingredients in this recipe. It'll give off a lovely herbal aroma when you chop it, which I personally love. Anyway, toss all of this into a bowl, along with your pine nut meal, and a few cloves of garlic that you handily minced off screen. Pour in about 150 milliliters worth of olive oil on top of this. Now, with your trusty fork, get to mixing. Stir and combine all of this together until it forms a lovely dark green paste. It'll be fairly chunky, but of course you can blend all of this together into a much finer paste, which would be closer to a modern pesto. And you can now dig into this as is. If you want to store this, pour it into a container of your choice and top it off with a little bit more olive oil. The whole thing should be kept in the fridge and eaten within about 2 weeks of making it. The finished pesto is delicious, if not a little simple in terms of taste. The lack of cheese in this recipe really highlights the flavours of the basil and garlic. Unblended, the mixture has a very sharp taste and really cuts through most dishes you'd pair this with. However, whenever it's been blended and the oil's emulsified, it retains a much smoother palatable taste, which is much more in line with modern pesto. Moretum, the Roman version of this dish, is first recorded by Columella, a Roman writer in the 1st century AD, who uses unnamed accounts for this dish, though his recipe records walnuts being used instead of pine nuts. The Etruscans were a prominent cultural force in the north of Italy, but it was not the sole cultural force there. So, while it's likely that calling this Etruscan might be erasing smaller communes, such as those found in Veneto and Liguria, this is a simple filler for a gap in our understanding of pre-Roman cultures in the north of Italy. In any case, I hope you all enjoyed this look at the world that was. If you like what you saw, please consider leaving a like on this video, or possibly even subscribing to my channel for some more ancient recipes.